So breaking news out of Ottawa tonight, Finance Minister Bill Morneau has resigned. So I want to break down what happened tonight for you and translate for you through some of the political spin that you're going to be hearing on TV tonight. Let's just break this down, and I'm going to just, again, this is just so fresh. I'm going to kind of be thinking out loud here, but I'll tell you what I took away from it. So Finance Minister Bill Morneau has resigned, and you'll of course be aware that he is mired in controversy right now with regard to the We Charity scandal, the potential ties to his family's employment, and a trip that his family took with the charity, and the fact that he didn't recuse himself and was part of the decision to award We $900 million contract to manage with hundreds or tens of millions of dollars of administration fees. So you've been following this, he's deep in this, as Trudeau is. Justin Trudeau is also deep in the We controversy, and for weeks people have been saying, it's a political saying, who's going to fall on the sword, who's going to get blamed for this? Is it Trudeau's undoing? Is it Morneau's? Is it both? And I guess tonight we found out that it's Morneau. So reports today said that earlier in the day, Morneau had met with the Prime Minister, and I'm assuming it was to discuss this, what just happened here. We also know that I've watched and I've read spin come out in the media in the last 48 hours talking about the fact that it's funny because it's like unnamed sources were saying that Bill Morneau wasn't getting along with cabinet because he wasn't just funding everything that everyone asked. So I want to just quickly break down what that means for you. So I have been in federal cabinet before, and when you bring a proposal to cabinet, if you don't already have the funds allocated in your department as part of the budget, it's called an unfunded memorandum to cabinet. It's an unfunded proposal. You're going to ask for money. And just from what we've seen of this Liberal government, it's quite clear that their cabinet has no compunction asking for money. It was certainly not a principle that former Prime Minister Stephen Harper imposed or valued within his cabinet. It was, where there was certainly a great degree of responsibility placed on cabinet to make sure that we were spending taxpayer dollars with a great degree of fiduciary respect for the fiduciary responsibility that we had as cabinet ministers. I digress. So what they're basically saying in this pre-spin was he wasn't letting cabinet spend how they wanted to spend, but yet that really frightens me for what comes next. Because if Bill Morneau was a check on the Liberal cabinet and they've spent hundreds of billions of dollars without parliamentary oversight and without a budget, what happens next? Like, oh my God, this is crazy. So that was their pre-spin. When he just got on the news, what he said tonight was that he had never intended to run for a re-election. He was only intending on running 2 election cycles. So he informed the Prime Minister that he wasn't going to run again. But wait for it. I almost feel like doing a drum roll for you guys. Here's what the deal was. Of course there was a deal. So in the middle of his resignation speech, he says, the Prime Minister, something to the effect of, the Prime Minister has full confidence in me running to be Secretary General of the OECD, and I'm going to be spending full time doing this gig. So, this guy that has been mired in controversy. We have not produced a federal budget this year, and so now we're supporting his bid as a country for Secretary General of the OECD. Is that what they just said? If you go back to high profile ministers under Trudeau that have been quasi-turfed, I think of my former sparring partner in the House, John McCallum, who was the former immigration minister. If you remember a few years back, all of a sudden he had a plum appointment, ambassador to China. That went particularly well. It didn't go well. Same thing with Stéphane Dion. You'll remember that he was given a very prominent ambassadorial position in Europe. So these guys that are incompetent or mired in controversy, as the case may be, they end up with like plum gigs afterwards. Like it boggles my mind. So that's bananas. The other thing that remains to be seen is there was some spin ahead of this announcement. This all happened very quickly tonight. Sources say sort of stuff that was out in Twitter. I saw it with, I think it was David Aiken that was tweeting about this, or others. Apparently that, there had been some tension between him and other cabinet ministers. It's just, here's what needs to happen as we go forward. First of all, we need answers on the WE charity scandal, because this, no matter how you slice it, the WE charity scandal brought down a sitting finance minister in the middle of a major economic and a crisis in Canada and around the world, which is, of course, the economic crisis that was precipitated by the Liberals spending ahead of the COVID pandemic. So we need to have answers on this ASAP. And for anyone who's saying, any of these Liberal partisans that are trying to say, well, nothing to see here, folks, clearly there's something to see here. And it also, if a sitting finance minister is ousted over something like this, as certainly I think most people will be reading between the lines, the same sort of a standard needs to be applied to the Prime Minister, and looking at the severity of his actions as well. The second thing is losing a finance minister when we don't have a budget, and our country is in financial crisis, economic crisis, is not a good thing for stability, for investment stability. The markets will likely be negatively affected if the Prime Minister, if Trudeau doesn't come out and have a plan very quickly. He needs to say, this is the person who's in charge, this is when we're going to deliver a budget, this is how we're going to get back to parliamentary oversight, and this is what the country can expect from us. You can imagine that if you are, any level of business, be it large or small, if you're watching this and you're a small business owner, you're probably going, yeah, I'm uncertain about this. They need to have a plan. So, Trudeau, in very short order, needs to figure out who is going to succeed Minister Morneau, former Minister Morneau, and what the plan is. We need to have a budget. I also want to say this. This would not have happened if it was not for the efforts of the Conservative caucus. And I want to give particular credit to my colleagues Pierre Poilievre and Michael Barrett, who have just been slogging day in and day out in a suspended parliament, using every tool at their disposal to hold this government to account, and also to our outgoing leader, Andrew Scheer, who, by all intents and for all intents and purposes, could have taken, weeks off, been laid low as we finished the leadership race, and he's chosen day after day, as well as many of our colleagues, to be working hard to get answers on these issues, and that is the job of the opposition. And today that has resulted in a finance minister resigning because of the scrutiny that was borne, and rightly so, regardless of your political stripe. You cannot argue that the scrutiny that has been borne on the WE charity scandal was unnecessary. It was very necessary. And again, this is the sort of action that happens when you have talented, committed public servants like my colleagues doing their job. And I just, on behalf of my constituents and all Canadians, I want to thank them, because they work hard, and oftentimes we don't thank them enough. So thank you, and you guys know who you are. There's more to come on this. Certainly, our job, again, hot take. Our job is, as the opposition, to continue to press for answers on WE, but also to continue to put pressure on the government to get us out of this out of control spiral that now has Canada finance ministerless in the middle of a pandemic, when we have no budget, our credit rating is in a precarious situation, and we're spending hand over fist. And also, just going back to that comment, again, that speculation that Bill Morneau wasn't giving the cabinet everything that they wanted, oof, that's scary. If we've spent hundreds of billions of dollars without parliamentary oversight, and the suggestion is that somehow he was providing some sort of check and balance, I'm worried what comes next. And the reality is that Justin Trudeau is out of control. He has no capacity to manage Canada and no moral authority to govern. And he should not be in charge of the country. And we're going to keep working hard to ensure that that is not the case, because Canadians deserve better than him. Working hard for you. I'm going to go and watch the rest of this press conference. Share this video. Share it far and wide. You'll be hearing more from us and our party in days to come. Have a great night.